Hi friends. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please kindly do me a favor by hitting the subscribe button, like, and share this video to your loved ones. Your support means the world to me. Also, don't forget to tell me where you are watching this from in the comment. Thanks. Now to my story. My name is Clara, and if you had seen my life 2 years ago, you would have sworn I came from the perfect, united family. I was the responsible one, the stable child, the one everyone depended on. My older brother, Daniel, was the opposite, charming, reckless, and allergic to accountability. But somehow, every time he made a mess, guess who was expected to clean it? The real trouble began when Daniel invested in one of those suspicious, double your money, online schemes. The kind that promises quick returns but is really just quick disaster. It collapsed, of course, and Daniel ended up owing money to some very serious people. People who don't raise their voices, they just raise eyebrows, and grown men start confessing their sins. My father, Richard, called me one evening with that tone that always meant my wallet was in danger. Clara, he said, you're going to fix this. Your brother cannot face this alone. Fix it? As in me? Daniel owed $15,000. Money I didn't even have in my savings, money I couldn't magically produce even if I squeezed my bank app. I spoke calmly. Dad, I can't cover this. Not this time. Daniel has to face the consequences of what he chose. I didn't insult him. I didn't shout. I just told the truth. But the moment I said it, something snapped in my father. The man who used to introduce me proudly as my brilliant daughter suddenly stared at me like I was a stranger who owed him rent. So you'd rather watch your brother be humiliated? You would rather see this family disgraced? If you can't stand with us, then you don't belong here. From today, you are no longer part of this family. I actually thought he was bluffing. He wasn't. He told me to pack my things immediately. And Daniel, my own brother? He just sat there on the sofa, chewing his fingernails and avoiding eye contact, like a guilty cat pretending not to know who broke the flower vase. That day changed everything. I left the house with one small suitcase and whatever dignity I had left. I didn't know what my next move would be, but I knew one thing. For the first time in my life, I chose myself, and apparently that was enough to get me disowned. I was still settling into my tiny rented room when the message came. I had barely dropped my bag, barely taken a breath, when my phone buzzed. It was a text from my father. Just one sentence. You are no longer part of this family from today. I stared at the message for a long moment, reading it over and over, waiting for the anger, or the tears, or the heartbreak. But what I felt instead was something surprising. Relief. For once, I wasn't the family's emergency wallet. For once, I wasn't the backup plan for Daniel's disasters. For once, I wasn't the daughter carrying everybody's weight while pretending it was light. So instead of arguing, crying, or defending myself, I typed back just one word. All right. That was all. No drama. No defense. No essay. And I think that word shook him more than any angry reply would have. Because silence, calmness, they scare people who expect you to be weak. A few minutes later, my phone started ringing. My mother, then my father, then my sister, Sophie, then Daniel. I didn't pick any of the calls. If you throw someone away, you don't get to call them back the same day. That's not how it works. Later that night, I lay on my bed thinking about everything I had done for that family. The monthly contributions, the groceries, the emergencies I covered, the times I bailed them out without complaint. And it hit me with full force. They didn't push me out. They pushed out the version of me that tolerated nonsense. But the real bombshell? The part that shook the entire Morgan household? That didn't happen until the next morning, when I quietly took away every single financial support I had ever been giving them. I didn't warn them. I didn't announce it. I just stopped. And that was when the real chaos began. When I woke up the next morning, I felt lighter than I had in years. No buzzing anxiety, no sense of responsibility pressing on my chest. For the first time since I started working at 24, I wasn't carrying the weight of the entire Morgan family on my back. It felt almost strange, like stepping outside after a long storm and realizing the sky is finally clear. By noon, I had already removed myself from every bill I'd been paying. My parents' utility accounts?
Gone.
The group family phone plan? I canceled my card and left them to sort it out. Grocery deliveries I scheduled weekly? I paused them indefinitely. And the financial cushion I normally sent my mother every Friday? Not this week, not next week, and not ever again unless I chose to. I didn't make announcements. I didn't send warnings. I didn't type long emotional explanations. I simply stopped being the family's financial life jacket. And by Sunday morning, they were drowning. It started with a voicemail from my mother, her voice shaking slightly, carefully balancing concern and guilt manipulation. Clara, sweetheart, I know things got heated, but your father didn't mean what he said. You know how he gets when he's upset. The power company is talking about shutting off the electricity because Daniel was supposed to pay his half, and you know how unreliable he is. Just call me, okay? I listened once and deleted it. A few hours later, Daniel called. 5 times. Then he texted. Clara, what the hell is going on? They're saying the rent is short this month. What happened to your transfer? Did Dad's message upset you that badly? Stop being dramatic. There it was. The entitlement. The casual disrespect wrapped in confusion. The assumption that I owed them support even when I'd been disowned like garbage. I didn't respond. By evening, the panic had officially reached my father. He called twice, something he rarely did even on my birthday. Then he sent a message. Not an apology, not a reflection, just pure pride disguised as explanation. You should know better than to take words said in anger seriously. This is not how family behaves. Call me. I wanted to laugh. So when he was angry and humiliated, he could tell his only daughter she was no longer part of the family. But when electricity bills hit, when the rent balance showed a shortfall, when Daniel's mess came knocking, suddenly family mattered again. Not because they valued me, but because they needed me. The old Clara would have panicked, apologized, maybe even sent extra money to calm things down. But that version of me finally died the day he cast me out. By Tuesday, the panic rose to desperation. My mother showed up unannounced at my apartment. I saw her through the peephole, her face tired, her hair messy, the stress written across her expression. She knocked softly, calling my name the way she used to call me when I was a child. Baby, please, open the door. Your father hasn't slept well. Daniel is saying things. This family is falling apart. Maybe before, I would have broken. But not this time. I stayed silent, my back against the wall, listening to her footsteps fade as she eventually left. No shouting. No guilt trips. Just tiredness. That almost hurt more than anything else. Later that night, my father finally cracked. He sent the longest message I had ever received from him, 4 full paragraphs. The first 2 were excuses disguised as explanations. The third was the closest thing to an apology a man like him could muster. But the last paragraph, that was the truth slipping through. We didn't realize how much you actually do for this family. Things are complicated here without your support. I am asking you to come home so we can resolve this properly. Resolve this properly. Meaning, fix the mess, cover the bills, restore the financial backup system they depended on. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't emotionally tangled in their chaos. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel responsible. I felt free. Still, something in me softened, not because of the apology, but because I knew what it took for a man like Richard Morgan to bend, even slightly. He didn't call me to say he loved me. He didn't call me because he missed me. He called because the family structure had collapsed without my support. And yet, I couldn't ignore the fact that he reached out, that he tried, that he recognized, maybe for the first time, that I wasn't just the convenient daughter. I was the backbone of a house that never treated me like a pillar. That night I lay awake thinking, not about their needs, not about my father's pride, but about myself. What did I want? To go back and pretend nothing happened?
No.
To punish them forever?
Also no.
I wanted respect, acknowledgement, boundaries. And I wanted my father to understand that love isn't measured by how much pain you can absorb for your family. By Thursday, I knew what I had to do. Not out of guilt, not out of weakness, but because I finally had the power to decide on my terms. And I was ready. By Thursday afternoon, I'd made my decision. Not out of guilt, not out of pity, and definitely not because I suddenly felt responsible for a grown man's impulsive behavior. No, I chose because I finally understood something I had never allowed myself to believe. Forgiveness is not the same as surrender. Forgiveness is something you can do with your spine straight and your boundaries intact. So I drove to my parents' house. I didn't call ahead, didn't warn them, didn't mention I was coming. If they wanted to talk, they would talk to me face to face. If they wanted reconciliation, they would give me the respect they had denied me for years. The moment my car pulled into the driveway, the curtains shifted. I saw the living room lights flicker on. My mother rushed out first, her eyes wet, relief all over her face. Clara, oh God, Clara. She hugged me tightly, the way a mother hugs a child who has just survived something heavy. I let her hold me for a moment.
Just a moment.
Then I stepped back gently. I'm here to talk, I said calmly. Not to argue. Not to fix anything.
Just talk.
She nodded, wiping her eyes. Your father is inside. He's been waiting. I stepped into the living room, and there he was, Richard Morgan, the man whose pride shaped our entire household. He stood when he saw me, cleared his throat, and for the first time in my life, he looked unsure, vulnerable.
Human.
Clara, he said quietly, thank you for coming. I didn't sit until he gestured to a chair. Small detail, but important. We were no longer operating under automatic rules. Everything mattered now. He exhaled heavily. I was wrong. I let anger get the better of me. Your brother was reckless, and I expected you to step in, like you always do. It was unfair. I shouldn't have spoken to you the way I did. Hearing it out loud mattered more than I expected. But I didn't let emotions rush me. I stayed steady. You didn't just speak to me badly, I said.
You disowned me, Dad.
You told me I wasn't part of this family. That isn't something you say because you're upset. That's something you say because you think you can say anything, and I'll still stay. My mother looked down. He swallowed hard. You've carried this family more than any of us realized, he said. And it took your absence to make us see it. I'm sorry, Clara. There it was. Not perfect, not poetic, but real. Still, this wasn't the moment where everything magically healed. Reality doesn't work like that. So I kept my voice calm, my spine straight. I'm willing to forgive, I said. But things will not go back to the way they were. I am not your emergency wallet. I am not Daniel's safety net. I'm not going to fix every disaster and then get blamed for existing. He nodded slowly. Understood. And if I continue helping this family, I added, it will be on my terms. Not out of pressure. Not out of obligation. Out of choice. Silence. The kind of silence that rearranges a household. My father's shoulders dropped. The fight, the pride, the old habits slowly dissolving. You have my word, he said finally. I watched him for a long moment, searching his face, looking for even a trace of manipulation. But what I saw instead was something unfamiliar. Respect. Pure, uncomplicated respect. My mother reached for my hand, squeezing it gently. We love you, Clara. And we are sorry. This time, I let myself believe her. The air in the room shifted. Not restored, not reset, but rebuilt properly this time. With edges, with limits, with clarity. When I stood to leave, My father didn't stop me with guilt or emotional blackmail. He simply said, "I hope you come back for dinner sometime." Not a demand, not an expectation, an invitation. That tiny difference meant everything. As I walked out of the house and into the evening air, I felt a calmness settle inside me, solid, grounded, unshakable. I hadn't just gotten my family back. I had gotten myself back. And this time, nobody was going to take that from me. Here's a smooth, reflective narrator outro that matches the tone of the story and fits a YouTube storytelling style. And that's how it happened. Sometimes life forces us to step away from the people we love just so we can finally see ourselves clearly. Clara didn't walk away to punish her family. She walked away to protect the parts of herself she had given out for too long without receiving anything back. And in the end, her silence spoke louder than all the years of sacrifice. Forgiveness came, yes, but on her terms, with boundaries, with dignity, with self-respect leading the way. Because at some point in life, especially as we grow older, we learn that love without respect becomes another form of burden. And the moment you choose yourself, the whole world around you learns how to treat you. So if you're listening to this and you've ever felt unappreciated, overlooked, or taken for granted, remember Clara's strength. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, stay tuned. More life-changing stories are coming your way.